All right, here we go. Monday, September 19th, a little after 2 p.m. I'm Tom Novak. Thanks for joining me. Here's your weather update. Yes, we're going to be talking about the potential for some strong thunderstorms now, potentially even severe over the next 24 hours, especially tomorrow morning between the time period of about midnight and 9 a.m. And that would be mostly over southern, southeastern Minnesota and western Wisconsin. And then a huge cool down. Yes, fall is on the way. And we'll get into that here in just a moment. Here's the precipitation over the last 72 hours. So basically since Friday morning and then through the weekend. And look at this, northern Minnesota, where they really don't need the moisture. They received plenty of it, with some locations in excess of 2-3 inches plus of rain. Meanwhile, in southern Minnesota, where we need it, especially in patches over southern Minnesota and western Wisconsin, we didn't get much of it. So hopefully we can get in on some rain over the next 24 hours before we enter another dry period for a good chunk of this week. Here's where the thunderstorms were located this morning and early this afternoon. They were over eastern North Dakota and now pushing into northwestern Minnesota. What this shows you is that there are some strong winds in the lower and mid levels of our atmosphere that are streaming from southwest to northeast across North Dakota and northwestern Minnesota. And on the nose of those strong winds is where you get thunderstorm development. And I think that area is going to shift further south and east here over the next 24 hours. That's why I'm expecting southeastern Minnesota and portions of western Wisconsin to get in on some thunderstorms here overnight tonight and into tomorrow. Here's that flow. This is the water vapor imagery from outer space. Here's that fast westerly flow across the northern sections of the United States. And look at this high pressure system located over Texas. It's an upper level high pressure system, and as winds flow up and around that high pressure system, look at all the dry air that is sinking south over the southern sections of the United States. A little bit odd, but it's really dry, at least in the atmosphere, down in the Gulf of Mexico. Hence the reason why we are not able to get much Gulf moisture to stream north into the upper Midwest, but we may have just enough of it to create storms over the next 24 hours. Here's the River of Air at 30 to 35,000 feet. We call this the jet stream, and here it is today. And then into tomorrow. Now, this is tomorrow afternoon. Look at how strong the winds are now as you go north here into North Dakota and northern Minnesota. And usually on the southern edge of those strong winds, which would be right in this area, is where you get significant lift in the atmosphere. And I think that's going to be the case as we head into the overnight hours tonight and into tomorrow morning and afternoon. And then eventually we get into a pretty fast northwest flow. This is a Canadian flow for much of the rest of this week. That would be for Wednesday, Thursday, and into Friday. So it's going to be much cooler. In fact, below normal temperatures are expected then, and we finally get another system to move in for Friday. So expect a wet day on Friday as we get a trough that moves into the upper Midwest. And it's not until we head into later next week that we get back into a much warmer weather pattern as a ridge starts to develop over the western sections and central sections of the U.S. But yes, a fast flow in our atmosphere means a roller coaster ride in temperatures and some periods of inclement weather. Hey, here is the low-level jet stream. These are the winds at about 5,000 to 7,000 feet in our atmosphere. And look at how strong the winds were right up in eastern North Dakota this morning and into this afternoon. That's the reason why we had thunderstorms break out over eastern North Dakota and northwestern Minnesota. Now look at what happens as we get into tomorrow morning. Now this is right around midnight tonight. And then as we head into tomorrow morning, look at the low-level jet. It has shifted south now and is located over southern Minnesota and into western Wisconsin. And usually on the nose of a low-level jet like this is where you get significant lift and thunderstorms. And that would also be a warm front that would be located right across the Mississippi River Valley in southeastern Minnesota. That's the reason why I'm thinking there's the potential for some big-time boomers as we head into the morning hours tomorrow. And along with that, we're going to have some pretty high CAPE values that will be streaming northeast now into southern Minnesota. Tomorrow morning, of course, without the sunshine, CAPE values are not very high. But as we start heading into tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon, CAPE values are going to be building over southern Minnesota and western Wisconsin. So we're going to have to keep an eye on the skies even as we go into tomorrow afternoon after our morning thunderstorms. Okay, speaking of these thunderstorms, this is your satellite imagery, and this, of course, is looking ahead. So this is a future satellite from the NAM computer model guidance. And here are the storms over eastern North Dakota, northwestern Minnesota this afternoon. Much of Minnesota is quiet for about the next 12 hours, and then watch what happens right around. This is going to be 08 Zulu, right around 4 a.m. tomorrow morning, 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. Look at these storms that rapidly develop over southeastern Minnesota, east central Minnesota, and western Wisconsin. I think those storms are going to mean business as we go through the morning hours tomorrow. And then we'll quiet down before the next round of storms potentially develop tomorrow afternoon and into tomorrow evening. They will be scattered, so not everybody gets in on the activity, but it's certainly something that we're going to need to keep an eye on, because I do think there is the potential for severe weather. That's why I have areas from about the Twin Cities metro on south and east into western Wisconsin. That would include the Rochester, La Crosse areas, Eau Claire, Wisconsin. These areas I have earmarked for the potential for a significant thunderstorm outbreak here over the next 24 hours as a warm front straddles the Mississippi River Valley. And we will be trying to update you on that, of course, as we go through the next 12 to 24 hours. Here's your extended forecast. A lot going on in this extended forecast, but look at this roller coaster ride in temperatures. There's a cold front that's going to be coming through on Wednesday and Thursday. Now, I'll be surprised if we can even reach 60 degrees on Friday as we get into a cold rain on Friday. But then comfortable air comes in for this weekend and early next week. And one more time, let's keep an eye to the sky here over the next 24 hours as a warm and humid day is on the way for tomorrow. All right, that's your forecast. Hey, thanks for joining me, everyone. Take care. Keep an eye to the sky here over the next 24 hours, and we will talk to you again later this week.